I said I'd never join.
Thought living on sub would be too hard.
I figured only the weatherman tracks storms.
I said my job wouldn't matter.
Never knew how strong I was. I never thought this would be my commute.
I figured I'd never get out of my hometown.
Or be the one who stops an attack. Joining the Navy sounds crazy.
Saying never actually is.
Oh, hi everyone, and welcome into Behind the Helm. If you want to watch this show live, tune in every Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Make sure to leave a comment down below, and we'll respond live. As always, find it, like it, share it, follow it. But if you want to watch the show after the fact, head on over to YouTube or on Facebook, where the shows are cataloged, and you can see all the comments and notes and still watch the show and any bonus content. If you just want to listen to the show, head on over to Spotify, Apple Podcast, Audible, wherever you can find a podcast, and just search up Behind the Helm. Enjoy the show. Episode 83. That's right, we're at 83. If this is your first time here, hey, thank you. It's probably you that caused us to get over 900 likes, 900 followers on Facebook. That's awesome. I actually know who the 900th person was, and that I'm going to try not to mispronounce his name, but it's Nicholas Orozco. Dang it. I probably messed it up. But anyway, thank you so very much for being that 900th follower. That's amazing. My goal is to try to get to 1,000. I know I've said that a few times, but my new goal is to get to 1,000 by the 100th episode. We've got some time. We made it to 900 just today. That's amazing. Thank you so very much. And if this is your 83rd time here, you're just as important. And thanks for coming back. Fields, maybe he's out there. Maybe my mom, some few other people that are on all the time. Make sure you throw some comments down below, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Smash that like button, hit the subscribe, do the bells, all the algorithmic things that help get this information out there, because I'm telling you today, we have a really awesome story. We're going to talk about some cool stuff. But you are on the Midwest's #1 military podcast. Right, it's not just Indiana anymore. Covering the whole Midwest. #1 right here, 83rd, 900 followers. Can't believe it. It's absolutely amazing. So what are we doing today? Well, lately I've had some people who've reached out to me and said, hey, I have some great information or some stories or some things I think that would really help someone else, whether they be in the Navy, Army, Marines, Air Force, whether they're retired or not. Absolutely, like, do not hesitate to reach out to us, just like a couple weeks ago with that retired QMC, and we were talking about those benefits. He kind of reached out and said, hey, how could I help? I had an officer from a ship that I was on who's going to come on in a couple weeks to do some stuff as well. And today's guest is somebody that also reached out and said, hey, this is really cool. Like, I have some great information that might help somebody. I'd love to talk about it. And we're going to introduce him here in just a minute. So, we're going to have an homage to the Eagle, but I want our guest to see it because it's something kind of special for him. We're going to go over his story and talk about also like a little hidden gem benefit that we were kind of talking about before the show that he brought up, had found out about, and I remembered about it as well, but haven't used it yet. So we're going to talk about it. Neither one of us have used it, but we thought it'd be really important to bring up. So again, smash that like button, share this feed. Make sure you throw a comment, whether you're on YouTube or Twitch or Facebook. If you're watching live and you have a question or you want to say anything, we'd love to interact with you live. But as always, of course, you can watch it after the fact. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Audible, all that's finally all caught up. Last week's was up the next day. And more than likely today's episode, assuming that nothing crazy goes wrong, it will be up on all the Audible or audio. Man, I'm having troubles with words today. I did presentations in a school all day and was having troubles with words, but it'll be up tomorrow at noon as well. So without further ado, we're going to bring in our guest. His name is Petty Officer. It's actually Wiltshire-Wallace. He just goes by Wiltshire, Petty Officer, GSM1. And like always, I'm going to put headphones on. I'm going to turn the volume off on these speakers so we don't deal with that. Put these headphones on so we get good audio. And I'll bring him in just a second. It's going to mess up the hair. It's never good. Let's see. Petty Officer Wiltshire, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're all good on my end.
All right, perfect. I can hear you too, man. Hear you loud and clear. How me? Okay, it's a Navy thing for anybody out there. Man, how are you doing? Where are you at right now? Looks like a pretty sweet Navy officer, what it looks like to me.
Yeah, there's a lot of advantages and opportunities in this office right now, right?
I see that. I can see that. So you're in a. I know you're a recruiter, so I didn't really say that. He is a recruiter right now, and we're gonna get into his story. But before we do that, man, we always do what's called homage to the Eagle. We used to have this brass eagle. Now we got this bad boy right here. Okay, and my son made something. He was on the show a while ago, and he had brought a gold coin that he got for Christmas. We talked about Minecraft, and I told him that the person that I was interviewing today was from Texas and is in Texas, and we're doing a cruise later this year, and he keeps telling like, well, we're going to Texas. I said, yeah, because we got to catch the cruise there. And, most people think of Texas, they think of what? They think of the desert. They think of cactuses. So he made this little clay cactus. It's got the flower on it and everything. And he said that I should put it on the show. And I said, well, what better time than when I have somebody from Texas? So we got our little cactus from my son. That's the homage to the Eagle today in honor of you and all of Texas. So absolutely, man. I'm excited to have you on. I'm glad you reached out to me. We got a little bit to talk beforehand. That's really been it. I kind of got your story, but I want to start at the beginning. And if you know this guy, make sure you hit that like button, say something about him. Keep it PG. All right. We're trying to stay profesh. I don't need any of the real bad stories, but so originally you told me that in fact, the office that you're sitting in right now that you work out of is also where you recruited out of, like where you came into the Navy, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah. So when I came up for orders to go recruiting, I knew I wanted to come home, and recruiting was the way to get there. And so I talked to the chief recruiter of the CR, explained the situation, and he was like, all right, let's get you back down there. And so now I'm literally going to the same high school I went to, talking to the teachers that, talked to me. And yeah, man. So I had a really great opportunity to do that.
Well, and now we're way ahead, right? Because that's where you are now. But let's rewind. And part of it is the story of you getting into the Navy. So normally I ask, hey, why'd you join the Navy? We're going to skip that because I want to come back to it. So, you went to high school. What high school did you graduate from?
I graduated from Ingleside High School.
Ingleside? What's their mascot? The Thieves?
The Mustangs.
Oh, the Mustangs. My bad. Anyway, so you graduate there. You didn't join right after high school.
No, so I waited a year. I graduated in 2014, and I joined in 2015.
Most people who say that they're going to wait a year to go to college, they don't just say wait a year. They say take a gap year. So you took a gap year for the Navy. So you join. You're 18. You go to boot camp, Great Lakes. That's where we all go. What year was it that you graduated high school?
I graduated in 2014.
2014. Okay. So you go to boot camp. and then you are what's called a GSM. What is GSM? What is that?
Yeah, so it's a gas turbine system mechanic or gas turbine system mechanical.
That's why we just say GSM, because that's a lot. That's a mouthful, right? And so, I mean, if before, and we're going to look at the video for that here in a minute, but if somebody said, because like, look, I'm a fire controlman. So when I say, oh, I'm a fire controlman, they're like, oh, so you're a firefighter. No. But if you say GSM and you explain that to somebody in layman's terms, if you were talking to somebody and they said, well, what do you, like, what do you do? Like, what is a GSM in layman's terms?
I make the ship go vroom vroom, and I give us power.
There you go, right? So the motors that run the ship, on all ships, you can work on pretty much any of them, right?
Small boys, LCSs are normally where I would go. I'm not going to see a carrier in my
right,
career.
because that's going to be nuclear, and then it's a whole different ball game. So your GSM. So you did boot camp. Now, when you joined, before we look at this video and we go past boot camp, when you joined, you go to MEPS. So where's the station that you're at? Where are you located there in Texas?
I'm located in Portland, Texas.
Portland,
Yeah.
Texas. What's the next biggest city?
Corpus Christi.
Corpus Christi. Okay, I'm not really familiar with Texas, so that's why I'm asking. There might be some out there that aren't. So Corpus Christi. Where's MEPS for you?
It's
like
San Antonio.
So how far away is San Antonio from Portland?
It's like 2.5 hours.
Okay, all right. So you go to MEPS. You get through all that. Now, did you pick GSM? Like, were you like, yep, that's it? Like, how did you decide GSM?
So growing up, I worked on cars and trucks with my grandparents or with my grandfather and my dad. So I knew, right, if I was going to join the military, it had to be something mechanically inclined.
Okay.
And so when I went up there, I sat down with the classifier, right, which is where you pick your job. And I was like, I just want to be a mechanic. I just want to turn wrenches. I was like, that's it. That's all I want. And so then he's like, all right, well, I got GSM and I got engineman. And so I was like, okay. I was like, well, what's GSM do? And he explained it. And I was like, all right, well, that sounds pretty cool. I was like, what about engineman? He's like, kind of the same thing. And I was like, oh man, this is perfect. I could just kind of pick whichever one.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like flipping the coin, And I was like, yep, GSM is what I'm doing.
I try to. I guess I explain like engineman if somebody asks. I tell them think like diesel mechanic, where GSM is the whole, almost like the whole system. Like it's a lot more. But let's real quick. They'll still be able to hear you. They won't see you. I'm gonna pull up this video with Mike. Yep. All right. So right now they're seeing you. Let's look at the GSM video. So the videos that the Navy puts out that, are a couple minutes long. This is the one specifically about GSM. We're going to watch it real quick and we'll talk about it for a second and then we'll continue on with you. So let's take a look here and see what the Navy says about GSM.
Everything on the ship was made by man, so it can be fixed by man.
I learned something new every single day.
There's GSEs, there's GSMs. The E is for electrical, the M is for mechanical.
We're in charge of the turbine, that's the engines for the ship to help the ship move.
Puts out a lot of power, above 3,000 kilowatts.
Coming on board and seeing these engines, I was like, hey, these are the same ones that are on airplanes. And they're like, yeah.
The systems are basically all the same. Going down to the Trident submarines and troubleshooting those, electronics is electronics, mechanical stuff is mechanical stuff. Once you know that, you can pretty much figure out anything.
I'm over here watching the propulsion engine, watching all the fuel, watching all lube oil, maintaining speed, shaft speed. This one's basically driving, this one's basically just spinning freely. Propeller pitch control, basically like the position of the blades as we go throughout the water.
I'm checking for contaminants in the fuel. I worked with my dad building motorcycles and whatnot, and so I was like, well, why not try gas turbines?
When I went in, she said GSM is basically a mechanic, and I was like, they get dirty. But I just wanted to be just like my dad. I was always a daddy's girl, so I was like, why not? Let's try it.
I had other choices at CS. I don't like cooking. I realized that I don't like cooking, so that was not gonna thing. But GSM. I asked them about it. They told me you're doing a lot with my hands. Okay, I like this. And I love the crew that we have. I love them.
And we do full power runs. We put it all the way forward and get like 32 knots. And you see the rooster tail. That was a lot of fun.
All right. Yeah, man. And a couple shout outs. I'm going to pull you back up. And I do want to give a couple shout outs while I'm thinking about it here. One, Ash and Dev is on, said, hey, good to see you. And I just wanted to say, you know, in that video, first off, good luck to all the second classes in the Navy today, because today was the day that they took the test for first class. And I meant to say it earlier, and I had so much, and I didn't write it on my board that's right behind the camera. But, hey, good luck to you guys. You know, hopefully you studied a little bit, you know, got some extra sleep. Your command gave you that study time you needed, and you used that to your advantage. And soon we'll have them new first classes leading the way. And then, you know, shout out, it is March. All right, it is March, and you saw like GSM, some mechanical. It's a dirty job, right? You know, this is, hey, we're turning some wrenches, we're busting some knuckles, and they definitely they showed some females in there, and those weren't like those were just normal female and no super big, you know, weightlifting females. So remember, it's March, it's Women Appreciation Month, and we have those in the Navy too, man. And we appreciate every single one of you, because without some of you, some of them jobs wouldn't get done. So Women Appreciation Month in the Navy, ladies, we appreciate you, and keep hard charging and being those amazing sailors. So smash that like button, share this feed, do whatever you need to do. All right, so what do you think, man, with that video? They did a good one. They did a good job on that video. It was good.
Yeah, they did. And it's actually extremely, it relates really well back to what to expect when you're out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's no fluff in that video. And it is, you know, it's a rough job. It's hard. The one thing I feel like they kind of left out, right, is how hot it gets down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, when you start thinking about it, it's like, oh yeah, that's probably a good piece of information to leave out, right? Because
I don't know necessarily to leave out, but like, I mean, it's an engine room, right? And depending on where you're at, it does get hot. Like when we were in the Middle East, over in the Persian Gulf, you know, there were time limits. So I mean, we do still care about our sailors. Yeah, it gets hot, but I tell you what, hey, there ain't a sauna on ship, but you go down to engine 1, engine 2, boy, you sweat it out. You know, but I think that comes with kind of the satisfaction, though. Like you're sweating, you're working, you know, it just makes it like, dang, man. But yeah, I mean, you're talking above 100 degrees easy, especially when you're running all of it. Now, you said in port, the engines aren't running, not as hot, but yeah, I mean, it definitely gets hot in there.
Oh yeah. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've come out.
Go ahead. It's my.
I've come out of the engine room, man. My undershirt's soaked. I'm dripping sweat, like done, dying, man. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's like a sauna down there. If you are real big into the sauna, then it's kind of the perfect spot to be at.
I mean, but it is what you make out of it. If you want to do that, you know, and you get the satisfaction in that. Whereas, like, I was the guy that was in an air-conditioned space and had my all-weather coat on and would go up to the smoke deck when guys like you would be up there, like, dripping sweat, and I'd be like, whew, man, it's cold out here. And get some real dirty looks. Choose your rate, choose your fate. But I just feel like there's the satisfaction because you're actually working with, where I'm doing like software stuff, maybe some electronics. Like you are seeing the product of what you're working on right then and there. You know what I mean? Like it's definitely good. So yeah, I mean, I think that video does great, showing what GSM is. I like that they threw in the zoom wall like a lot. You know what I'm saying? They're like, hey, look at this zoom wall. Because I think these videos were from like 3 years ago. So, you know, we don't have that many of those ships, and I don't even think they're going to make any more of them, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I mean, they're still awesome, but that's, you know, here nor there.
They're real pretty sitting in port, you know?
They sure are, and they sure can go fast. All right, so you go to GSM A school, your school for that. Where is the GSM A school?
Yeah, so it's literally across the street from boot camp.
Yeah, it is. Great Lakes, Pier 525. That's where mine was too, man. I spent a long time there. And when we tell people like, hey, your A school is going to be in Great Lakes, they're like, oh, you mean I have to stay at boot camp? No. It's across the street. It's a kind of a separate base. It's different. So you're still right there. You get to go into Chicago, man. Took advantage of that. How long was the school for GSM?
Oh, so we went to Beck, right? Basic Engineering Common Core.
Yep.
That was, dude, don't quote me. I believe it's 6 weeks, right? And then
I think it sounds about right.
Yeah, and then the GSM A school strand was only 2 to 3 weeks, if I remember correctly.
Really?
Yeah, so it's not a long school, right? And
about 2 months total, maybe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so like the other thing to think about, right, is as a GSM, a lot of your learning has to be hands-on.
Yeah, it has to be hands-on.
Yeah. So, like it was enough information to get us kind of understanding what we were doing.
Yep.
But the real learning is on the ship.
I think those type of schools, especially, it's more like, hey, here's how you would find the information for troubleshooting. But as far as the actual troubleshooting, I mean, you got to get in there, you got to get qualified, you got to be with people. Like you said, you grew up working on cars and stuff with your dad and your grandpa. Like, you didn't just start working on them. You didn't read a book to do it. You watched them and you learned. And it's that type of job. It's very hands-on, very, get in there. And something else about your family before we move on past A school, you had some family that was in the Navy even too, didn't you?
Yeah, so my mom was a corpsman, my dad was a torpedo mate, and then my stepdad was a mineman.
Wow. Well, you know what I say about minesweepers is that technically every ship can be a minesweeper at least once. So, I mean, but yeah, I had some minemen in my basic electrical class. There's not very many of them anymore. There's not a lot of mines out there. It's a pretty small rate. Probably bigger back then, but yeah, that's super cool. So you go to A school. Now, did you have any fall-on schools, or did you go to your first command after A school?
I went to my first command.
Where was that?
I got stationed in San Diego, California, on the USS Mobile Bay.
San Diego.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, the whales. Anyway, San Diego. What'd you think about? So, what year was that? We're thinking because Petty Officer Levesque, who did this, he's out in San Diego now. We had him on the show. With inflation, cost of living, everything's kind of crazy out there. He got lucky in some military houses. It's actually setting pretty good, but he's like, there ain't no way I was buying a house out here right now. But you got there, that'd probably be 2016? 2015?
No, 2015.
Yeah, 2015. And what'd you think of San Diego?
Okay, so I hated it at first, right?
Really?
But I come from a small town that was 5,000. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
You go from that to San Diego, and it's like night and day. You know what I mean? I was like, you ever watch the Hollywood Hillbillies?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Pulling into town in a jalopy?
That was you?
Oh, dude, that was me. I did giant F-350 crew cab, long bed diesel truck.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
California was not my spot, I'll tell you that.
Not at first, right? Not at first.
Not at first.
So you did a tour on that, right? You made second class there, right?
Yes.
I saw that just from the pictures we posted. Did you make first class on the ship, or did you make first class recruiting?
I made first class in recruiting.
Okay, so your first tour, you're on that ship, and then after that, that's when you came back to. How long were you on that ship? 4 years, 5?
5 years.
5, and then you rotated out to recruiting.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, why go recruiting?
So I mean, it really just kind of came back to my story, right? And I heard a lot about when I was on the ships, man. I worked with people, and they're like, "Oh, my recruiter lied to me." My recruiter did that. You know what I mean? And so I was like, you know what? Like, I got a pretty good story. And the Navy really helped me out. Like, I want to go recruiting back in my hometown and help these kids that have only been told that recruiters are there to lie, and help them get out of their hometown. Like that was really my motivation for it.
Yeah, and we're going to get to your story, too, here in a minute. But definitely, I agree, man. Like, I heard that a lot. I did my own research, but I will tell you, I didn't know anything going into boot camp, like, that I should have known. And, like, yeah, I mean, that's 100%. I was like, man, like, and if I knew what I know now, then I couldn't even imagine where I'd be. So, it's definitely one of those things that's like, you can't just get forced into recruiting in the Navy. You can in other branches. I don't think people understand that. Like, we have to volunteer to do. You have to go through like a screening process because of that stuff, because of those, misconceptions from the past and stuff. So, noble reason. And then obviously a lot of times, not everybody goes back home to recruit, but it's a way to get back home. I actually talked to a chief on my ship before I left that she was originally from California, and she went recruiting in Ohio. And I asked her, I was like, did you get forced into that? Like, she wanted to go to Ohio. I'm from the Midwest, so I'm like, why? She's like, well, I lived in California, and now I'm in Virginia. Like, it was an opportunity to see another part of the U.S. And I'm like, all right, fair enough. I see what you mean, but, like, I don't know why you would go to Ohio. But
yeah,
it's all good, right? So you're in recruiting now, but you actually have orders. You're moving forward. You know where you're going next.
Yeah, I'm actually going to a pre-com unit. It's a LCS. It's going to be stationed out in San Diego. So
going back to the Diego.
Yeah, going back. I hated it at the beginning, but now after being there for 5 years, I was like, man, this is amazing. This place is awesome.
Yeah. So you're going back there. You're getting ready to do that. And speaking of changes and transitions, I'm going to let y'all in on a little secret, little news. The reason that I'm pushing so hard towards episode 100, so definitely find it, like it, share it, follow it, smash the like button, do all those things, is that if you listen to it on any of the audio platforms, you'll see that it's listed as season 1. Well, season 1 is going to be coming to an end. Season 1 is going to come to an end on episode 100 because I'm going to be moving forward in a different direction, and you're just going to have to stick around to find out what that is, because come episode 100, we're going to start season 2, and season 2 is going to chronicle something completely different. We're still have great information, but it's going to be a little different for Behind the Helm, so definitely you're going to want to stick around for that. We're not too far off. So you're going back to San Diego. You're going back to a ship, a pre-com. So pre-com for anybody, this means pre-commissioned, as in the ship hasn't been commissioned. It's not out to sea yet. It's built, but you're still adding the gear, getting everything worked up. Also a lot of hard work, but I've heard it's really cool to work on a pre-com and get to see that side of it. And a little message from Kim Hudson, which is a mom of one of my future sailors, now a sailor out doing great things. I've said this a few times, but I'm so thankful for everything you and Levesque did for Caden, especially after hearing recruiter horror stories from other people. Thank you, Kim. I appreciate that. They just reached out to me the other day because he needed his, he went like ATF route, so he's supposed to get his E4, and they didn't have it. And he had to show proof of it with his contract. And, I'm like, he calls me up, and I'm like, yeah, man, I get it for you, pull it off of Pride, but I couldn't really send it to him, so I was going to fax it over to the schoolhouse, but then his mom found the copy that he had. So, like, I stay in contact with my future sailors, man. Like, I tell them I'm always here for you. So,
same.
Yeah, absolutely, man, because I want to see him succeed. But, yeah, so we're up to date with you and where you're at now, right? But I think the big thing of what we said is not judging a book by its cover and taking negatives and turning into positives. You took a gap year from high school. You're from a small town, and I think what's so intriguing is understanding where you came from and why you decided to do what you did, because like you said, you had family in the Navy. Me and you were talking, and you're like, I had family that was in the Navy, so it was kind of like left field. It wasn't anything I was going to do. So you graduate high school, or you're getting ready to graduate high school. What happened, man? What'd you do?
Yes. So I'm getting ready to graduate high school, right? We're like 4 or 5 days from graduation, and my buddy hits me up, and he's like, hey, man, graduation's around the corner. We have to go get alcohol. And I was like, dude, you are so right.
Man, this guy's ahead of the game.
Yeah, I was like, man, this guy's smart. He's really thinking, right? And so I was like, well, where are we going to go? And he's like, well, let's go to Walmart. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like not realizing, or I guess not thinking in my 17-year-old pea brain, right, that there's cameras and they have secret shoppers and like they're watching them, right? And so like idiots, we load this cart down with all sorts of stuff. And so we start walking out the door of Walmart, and we get stopped by a secret shopper. And he's like, hey, I need you guys to come back in the store so, we can get this all handled away. And I was like, okay. And so I went back inside. My buddy walked off. And so, I ended up getting arrested.
He was a smart one. He was thinking, hey, I ain't going back in there.
Yeah, right? He's like, yeah, no, I'm good, man. I appreciate it.
So you got it. So you end up getting arrested. You're what, 17?
17.
Man, bro, stealing alcohol,
Yeah.
just trying to party, just trying to have a good time, bro.
I know, making bad
Yeah.
choices. But you know, like honestly, looking back, it probably wasn't out of the realm of possibilities. Like I was that 17-year-old kid that didn't have a plan, wasn't good in school, didn't really care, was just like doing whatever I wanted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I had really strict parents. Like, don't get me wrong. Like my parents were very on me about things, but I just wasn't making good life decisions. I was just kind of doing whatever I felt like, right? Like that coming to age moment, right? And it's so, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. And at this point, right, a lot of people are like, oh, why do you talk about it? Like, that's not very good. Like, you're in the military, you're supposed to set a good influence. And like, I'm so open and honest with it because I think it's really important for people to understand that, like, you can make a bad decision in life. Now, however you react to that bad decision, like I easily could have been like, oh, I got arrested one time. This is the life I'm living now, right?
Oh,
And
yeah. I mean,
never-
that happens a lot, you know?
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I took that one negative in my life. I took that one arrest and I was like, you know what? Like, this is not the life I want. I want to get out of small town USA. I want to get away from here. You know, let me just kind of look into some other options, you know? So I went to court, got everything taken care of. And then I went to the Navy office, you know, and like I said, or like we were just saying, my family was in the Navy, but the Navy was like so far off my radar. Like I was like, oh, I'm just going to work. I'll just, you know, I'll make ends meet. And so I went to the Navy office the first time and I was like, I walked in, I was like, hey man, I'm here to join the Navy. Like, I just want some information. And this guy looked me up and down and was like, oh, you're too fat. You got to get out of the office. And I was like, laughed, right? I chuckled. I was like, oh, haha, that's funny. Like, I'm just here for some information, nothing crazy, right? And he was like, no, for real, you're too fat. Get out of my office. So I left.
You didn't waste my time.
Yeah,
Dang.
right. And so I was like, man, you know, like like we were talking, like I'm petty. You know what I mean? Like you tell me I can't do something, now it's game on. Like I'm doing it. You know what I mean? So I went out, lost a little bit of weight, came back, and I was like, hey man, I'm here to join the Navy. And he was like, nah, you're still too fat. Get out of my office. And I was like, all right. I was like, bet. Like now it's game on, you know? So a buddy of mine was actually looking at joining the Air Force. And so he was already working out. He was running every night. And so I was like, hey, like I need some motivation, man. I need someone to hold me accountable.
Yeah,
like
100%. That's huge.
Dude. Yeah, I was like, man, I know me. If I have to hold myself accountable, I'm not gonna do it. Like, do you mind if I run with you? And he was like, yeah, absolutely. So he would literally meet me every night at 8:00 at a gas station close to his house, and we would run this road. And the road is exactly 1.5 miles long.
So we would 3 miles a day.
I wouldn't say that. We walk, you know, we'd
That's
run
all right.
the first half and then walk back.
But that's still exercise, man. And it's in Texas, so even at 8:00 at night, it's still 362 degrees.
Yeah. You know, actually, it's Texas Independence Day.
Today?
Yeah, today.
I know.
Oh, dude, that's crazy, right? But yeah, so we
Texas
were running.
Independent. Don't worry. We'll pause for a second. Make sure you smash the like. I want to shout out. We just got a new follower, Brooke Kelly. Thank you so very much. And of course, I know that because for maybe not you, because I haven't even told you what you're doing yet. After we talk about all of this, because I asked you what your favorite charity is, and you're going to get a chance to play a game for charity, and it might have something to do with Texas. You think that I didn't bring somebody on my show from Texas and know that it's Texas Independence Day? Get out of here! Come on, man.
Oh man.
But
yes.
I do want to back up a minute though, because you were saying, and first off, that recruiter, you end up getting in anyway, right? And now it's like, look at me now, because I'm sitting in your office, because it's the same office. But
yeah.
I think what's interesting is we've talked about what it takes to join, and we look at mentally, morally, and physically fit, and the morally is 100% like, hey, man, you ever murdered anyone? They ain't found the body yet? Okay, you can't be a felon. Felony is bad, right? You can have a past. That's the thing. It's what I think you keyed it really well in a post that you had put where you'd said bad decisions happen, but it's how you react to those bad decisions. But I will say you got lucky, because when it comes to the Navy, in our manual, when we look at what you are charged with, there's larceny. And because we see all this, whether it's expunged, they tell you, hey, you were a juvenile, it doesn't matter. We're federal. Like, we will see that. So it's just easier to be upfront and honest, because I will tell you, I'm not going to judge somebody because of their past. I want to help them, but I have to know what I need to do. Somebody else just posted, I'm going to read this post real quick. I've met people who were once gang members who completely turned their lives around after joining the military. While not for everyone, the military is a great path to change your life. And yes, we've talked positive things. Look, I'll be honest, like I wasn't a gang member, I wasn't a thief, and I know people who join just to join, but we just want to show that it takes all kinds. But when it comes to how we look at it, not being a felon, with larceny, for us, if it's over $500, it changes what the level is, right? Changes what the level of your conviction. So you get arrested at 17. They add up the value of everything that's in this cart, and it was how much?
It was like 480. Like we were close.
This close to. At that point, I don't even know if you would have been able to join the Navy.
I don't think I would have been able to. Not at that time. Maybe now, because some of the standards have kind of.
Legal's rough. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, I was literally that close to ruining. I don't want to say ruining, right? But
yeah, because you didn't know yet. Yeah.
To putting a lot of closing a lot of doors to opportunities that I didn't even realize were there yet. You know what I mean? So now as a recruiter, I'm actually the guy that I normally work with people who have police records, who are gonna be, waivers upon
those
waivers
kind of like
upon waivers.
those kind of, I call them like pet projects. Like when you're working in recruiting, you have like your funnel and you got guys that are getting in, but you got these guys kind of outlying up here, because we got to get the background checks and make sure all the paperwork's done. And the more you work with that, and then if you have some past with it, you kind of understand it a little more, because there's like legal lingo and jargon to be able to make sure that it's all written up right, so that this person isn't having to go back and forth to MEPS multiple times. Yeah. I like those too. I mean, don't get me wrong. Somebody comes in and I got a phone call today. This dude calls me up, homeschooled, but it's digital. So it's like, it's not technically homeschool. His dad's a sheriff, within height and weight standards, clean and green, no medical, no legal, no nothing. I'm like, all right, well, we need to get together, meet, make sure that it's the right reasons, this and this and this. I said, I told him kind of the path before we meet, and he's like, I said, you have any questions for me? He said, yeah, when can I take the test? Well, we need to meet first. I could have told him, hey, tomorrow come in, you take the ASVAB, like this dude's ready to join. I'll take those all day. But sometimes, and no offense to this young man, he sounds like a really good guy, but sometimes if you don't get to the root problem, there's no connection there. Whereas somebody who's been through some stuff, like there's just more of an appreciation and more of an ownership to it, right? Like you having to lose that weight to be able to join, to be able to say, like, I had to work for this. This is something that I earned, So that's good. Like, so you get arrested, you do all your probation stuff, and you decide, because you were tell me a little bit about what you were doing before, because you were just like a gopher. Like you were just kind of working job sites, construction, just making crap money with a lot of hours, right?
So I worked at a crane company, right? And so we did inspections, we did removing the cable, replacing pads on the booms, right? We did quite a bit. And so I call it a gopher, because really what it is you gopher that tool way over there, and then you bring back the tool and hope to God it's the right one, right? So I was working, 40 to 50 hours a week at $9 an hour. I was making like $600 every 2 weeks, $1,200 a month, hating it. And I was like, I looked around and I'm like, dude, like, why do people do this? Like, this is not fun. I spend all this time at work. I have no social life. I go to work, I come home, I go to sleep, and like that was it. Like that was all my life was, right? And it wasn't. I just knew it wasn't for me, right? I knew that wasn't where I wanted to be at in life.
The good thing was though, you were making money, right? You're making money. There are people that aren't, and you're a big boy now, so hey, I'm gonna move out of mom and dad's house. Tell us about that, because I think that's great too. Like, you're working. First off, we're talking Texas, all right? It's not like it's cold. It's hot. It's hot. You're outside 50 hours a week, but I'm a real boy now, right? I have a conviction. I have a job, right? So you're going to move out, right? I'm an adult.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
I bought a horse trailer and I
horse
converted
trailer.
it. A horse trailer, right? I bought a horse trailer. I converted it to a travel trailer. But in order to use the restroom, I had to go out the front door on the horse trailer, go back to where you would put your horses at, and that's where my toilet was. So if it was raining and I had to use the restroom, I was getting wet. Right?
Well, you went backwards. You basically had an outhouse. It was just attached to your house.
Yeah, exactly, right? So, I lived in there for let me think, probably like 7 or 8 months until I left for boot camp.
I use this term endearingly, and I'm from Indiana, okay? That might be the most hick thing I've ever heard. It wasn't like I bought like I've heard people buy sheds and barns and convert them. You are the first person I've ever heard of that bought I didn't buy a mobile home. You bought a horse trailer and converted it. Like who does that, man? It's Texas.
Dude, I had a 5-gallon hot water heater, so my showers were quick.
Real quick.
Yeah. I couldn't use the microwave and turn my TV on at the same time. Otherwise, I blew everything.
Hey, you want to watch this movie? I'm going to pop some popcorn. No. Don't. Wait.
Yeah.
You got to turn it off.
Hey, hold on. Let's turn off the TV, pause the movie. We'll go back.
We got somebody else that's putting a comment on Facebook. We got comments from Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. I love to see it. Make sure you're putting those comments. Smash that like button down below. Amazing information here on episode 83. Midwest's #1 military podcast, Behind the Helm. We're sitting here with Petty Officer Wiltshire-Wallace talking about his past and how he turned it around. And we got a message here. It said, this is super interesting. Joined on a whim in 1998 and retired as a MACSO, a senior chief MA, but in 2019. So we're talking, we got a retired senior chief MA out there, and just finds it interesting because he, on a whim, like you meet those people. Some people for a reason. Some people, like he joined on a whim in '98. Didn't know I was going to stay in. Next thing you know, he doesn't retire until 2019. Stays in. So you do this horse trailer thing, right? And you end up joining. We put the pictures out there, right? So you got arrested. You had to lose this weight, and you turn it around, right? Because I know, being from a small town, and like you said, you could have just been down that path. And it's obvious that you had, no offense or anything to whoever, and maybe they've turned their lives around. You had some friends that were leading you down that path too, right? Yeah. Like, hey, when you're in a small town, man, it's a life hack to move out of a small town in your 20s, right? Because you're friends with people. I call it friends due to circumstance, right? I'm your friend because you're here. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't got anybody else. So you do that, turn your life around. And you could have kept going down that path. You could have just been that dirtbag, man. But we saw in the pictures, you have beautiful family, married, kids. Did you meet your wife at high school, in the Navy? Like how tell us about that, man.
Diego, I always tell people, right?
Yeah?
'Cause Texans are, man. We're always like, oh, everything's better in Texas, but dude, those California women were gorgeous. And I met my wife and I was like, man, she is so pretty. She's way too out of my league. So I was like, I better put a ring on her finger and figure it out.
Yeah.
So,
she knows how to put avocado on toast like nobody else, man. I'll tell you what.
Can't beat it, right? So, I met my wife in San Diego. She's currently pregnant. I actually go on baby leave with the new 12-week policy, March 20th. So.
Right? Yeah. So there's, we talked about that a little bit. We're always changing. We're always, people think that the military is against family. And, and it's not. It really isn't. I mean, now when my son was born, I only had 10 days. Okay. But what job even gives you paternity leave for dads? They don't. I had 10 paid days of leave when my son was born, not to mention the few days off here and there that I had, like with complications and stuff, where my command was like, go. You know what I mean? But it's up now. So as a man, as the dad, you can take how much now?
12 weeks.
12 weeks. I got 10 days. So I'm a little jealous. But it's good because that gives you the opportunity to make sure that your wife and your newborn are good. And that, because sometimes, when you have kids in the military, you might be in a place that maybe you just got there. and they're not
Yeah.
set up yet, and they need you. And it's not just that you're taking 12 weeks off of work. You're taking 12 paid weeks that don't count against your leave. Like, it's awesome. So beautiful wife, beautiful family, getting ready to have another one. Boy, girl, do you know?
It's another boy. All I make are boys, man. So
Man, I'm telling you what, dude, Brad is a really good name. I'm just throwing it out there. So, it should come back. It's going to come back. It's a 90s name. But no, that's awesome. You guys are going to San Diego. You're going to have your 12 weeks. You're going back to a ship. So how long, I know we've already said when you joined, but so how long have you been in now?
So in May, I hit my 8-year mark.
In May, you'll hit your 8-year mark. You going to re-enlist?
I actually already re-enlisted. I re-enlisted in October of 22 for another 6.
Yeah, I need
so
to
that'll
re-enlist.
be through pre-com. Unless something happens and we get delayed, then I'll have to extend for a little bit. But
Sure.
yeah, so this will carry me to my 14-year mark, and then
At that point, you better just retire, bro.
Exactly, dude. I'm right there.
Yeah, I'm 12 years in, and I mean, you especially, like, having multiple kids, and we've talked about it before, and just what it provides for them. They're giving you, the dad, 12 weeks paid. Who does that? No one.
Well, dude, not to mention, your spouse can go to school for free until you make these.
Yeah, a couple episodes ago, when Retired QMC was on, we were talking about a couple different certificate programs. There's so many benefits for your spouses and your family that, I mean, honestly, like, my wife has looked up some stuff and she's like, hey, what do you know about this program? Like, whatever you're getting ready to tell me about it, because there's so many. And I think what's cool is I've talked about, we were talking about one, and you're on episode 83. We're talking about kind of muddled pasts, but we're going to talk about, I need everybody to pay really, really close attention, because this is for people who are going in, and for people who are in. This is huge. We talked about spousal different benefits and stuff, and I've talked about Military One Source. You get free counseling. Me and my wife used it, not that there was anything wrong, but it was free. Like, it helped us with our communication on some stuff. It was great. And then I kept with that counselor after, because you just change what you're going to them for. That's the life hack. And I still see that counselor, and it's somebody that I can just complain to for an hour a week so that I don't take it home. Plus, I don't want to take it home because normally it's my wife I'm complaining about. So, no, not really. I'm just kidding. She's probably watching. Now I am going to be in trouble. No. But you brought up something that I forgot about, because, so you can get this free counseling, and it's from counselors out. It's not a Navy person. These are civilians. You're getting all this time off, even as the male in the relationship. If you're a female, you have that. And then QMC actually put in here, the Navy will work for you to help during family changes or emergencies, but sometimes a command may be deployed. Your leadership will try to get you home, but you're never guaranteed to go home, which that's true. I mean, if you're on deployment, but they do. I mean, it's not a guarantee, but you try to plan. You can't always plan to fail. You try to, but I think one thing, and this is for anybody who's in, I need you to pay attention. This is huge, and you should look it up. Credo. Credo retreats. I'm going to pull it up. They're going to be able to hear you. Why don't you start talking about it a little bit while I pull it up, like what you were telling me about it. Neither one of us have used it. We've only heard about it. I forgot about it. You were telling me about it a little bit. So you have not experienced it yet. So I think this is something that me and you were talking that soon we both need to, so that we can even talk more in depth about it. But go ahead and tell the people what you know about it.
Yeah, 100%. So Credo actually offers marriage enrichment retreats, right? And so what it is, it's a chance for you and your spouse to stay at a 4-star, 5-star resort. And you guys get to reconnect, right? And in the military, and I try and tell, especially my married applicants, right? Whoever's enlisting, they've chose the military. The spouse is kind of forced to accept that decision because they chose the applicant. So what Credo does, it gives you an open, neutral space to kind of talk with one another and just really reconnect. When someone has a wife and kids, it's hard for them, especially a military member, right? Like, we speak in acronyms. I don't know if you've ever noticed. Like, of the time we're saying something and our spouses are looking at us like, what are they even like? The words are not making sense, you know? So, by doing this,
what does PCS stand for?
PCS?
Yeah. Do you know what it stands for?
Permanent change of station.
See, I couldn't remember. My wife asked me the other day. I said, I don't know. I can tell you what it is. I don't remember what it stands for though. We talk in acronyms. I don't always know what it stands for. I just know what it is. But yeah, go ahead.
Exactly. So Credo is going to give you that opportunity to really realign and connect with your spouse. I like it personally, right? And me and my wife have this philosophy in our house. It's never me versus her or her versus me. It's us versus whatever the issue is, right? So
unless it's your fault, and then it's her versus you.
Yeah, but
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
You want to be in the doghouse, you do that on your own.
No, yeah.
So Credo not only has the marriage enrichment retreats, they actually have family enrichment retreats and personal enrichment retreats.
So pause right there. I got this pulled up, and it's right here. You can see the number for more information or to register. Please call or email 757-444-7654. Credo_CNRMA. Credo is CREDO _CNRMA at fct.navy.mil. And it lists right here the exact retreats you're talking about. So there is marriage enrichment retreats, which is a weekend and 1 day event, offers opportunities for commitments and all kinds. So you guys can read this. I'm not going to read down through every single one of it. Is Credo open to retired and reservist personnel? I don't know. We're about to find out. The family enrichment retreats are 1 day events offering for families. So you're talking about, practical skills based on proven principles that will strengthen, support, and empower a family bonding and development. And then personal resilient retreats, which are 1 day retreats. The marriage ones are a weekend and a day. And then they also do workshops, premarital workshops, personal resilience workshops, Living Works, applied suicide intervention skills training, right? Assist. This is suicide intervention. It's not, hey, you're thinking about suicide. This is, hey, I wouldn't mind going to something to help someone to be able to notice it. So what this says, it says supporting sea service personnel and their families. Credo programs enhance spiritual well-being and inspire hope in the lives of participants, helping them grow in healthy relationships, spiritual expression, positive moral thinking, and resiliency. Our goal is to build trust and facilitate an experience of unconditional acceptance that invites reflection and offers practical skills for change. Now, in this paper, and I did not read through the whole website because we kind of thought about this last minute right before we started the show. I can tell you it gives the website. It's CNIC. I actually just searched Credo, CREDO, retreats, and it gave the CNIC Navy website for religious programs. I did not have the chance to read it all. So I cannot tell you if it is for retired or reservist personnel, and it would kind of take a little bit to look that up. I don't want to derail too much, but I would definitely look it up.
And if you have questions about it, right, and you can't find it located on Google, you can actually just go directly to the chapel on base, and there is a Credo representative there that will help you out.
At the chapel, because that's who you talk to. Well, this is somebody who's retired, and I don't know if he's near a base anymore.
Oh yeah,
that's why fair. So it may be. I actually do not have the answer on that, so I'm a little ill prepared for that question. However, I do know it's right on the website. You can find that, or you could call a local chapel if you're retired or a reservist and ask about it, because it is ran through the religious services department, through the religious programs. So really cool. I've heard it. They're great retreats, and you said that you and your wife are thinking about doing one, but you've never done one yet.
Yeah, haven't done one yet.
And I haven't either. I remember hearing about it, and I brought it up, and me and my wife talked about it, and then I kind of forgot. So it's just crazy because if you really look at it, we really think about it, right? You graduate high school, you have parents who are Navy vets. Navy wasn't even anywhere close to the thinking. You're kind of running with the not a great crowd. Just make a bad decision. Like you said, parents were strict. You just didn't really care, and did something stupid, got arrested, 17 years old, like maybe $20 away from it being a felony, and, working 50 hours a week in the heat, living in a converted horse trailer in Texas. And then, you know, you had to lose weight 2 different times before you finally were able to get in the Navy. GSM, great job. We watched the video. Make sure you go back, and you can still listen to it even on the audio version. You know, you go out to San Diego, you meet your beautiful wife, and you have a beautiful family, and you're getting ready to carry on with that. Like, it's kind of a Cinderella story, man. You know, I mean, it could definitely have gone a different way. Like, let's be honest, knowing your wife now, if your wife knew you or met you in that time before the Navy, who was that guy? Would she have been like, ain't no way?
Dude, it's so funny you mentioned this because literally last night she was like, because I was telling her about this, right? And I was like, yeah, I get to do this podcast and tell my story. And,
you get to. It's a privilege.
Yeah, right? And so I was telling her, I was like, yeah, I'm going to talk about this. And then I was like, I looked at her and I was like, you know, there is no way in the world we would have ended up together if we knew each other back then. Like,
No
just would
way.
not have.
No way, right?
Yeah, just not going to happen, man. You know, we were so different from one another. You know what I mean? I was just a snot-nosed punk 17-year-old kid, you know, so like it just wouldn't have worked out.
So, look, before we move on to bonus content, before we finish the audio portion of it, okay, I'm going to tell you, you mentioned it, and it's funny, right? So you reached out to me. You're a recruiter down in Texas. You're originally from Texas. I get you on the show, and then you think you're slick. Tell me that it's Texas Independence Day. I know. Today is Texas Independence Day. I asked you what your favorite charity was. You told me the Wounded Warrior Project. I would encourage anybody to check that out and donate to it, and we're going to look at that in a minute in bonus content. But you're going to be playing a little game here in a few minutes to maybe raise some money for your charity. And I was giving you hints when I asked, like, you're from Texas, you work in Texas, everybody in Texas loves Texas. Like, so hopefully we'll see. But before we move on to that, I just want to give you one last chance here. This is episode 83. We're talking with Petty Officer GSM1, Wiltshire-Wallace. And, you know, this has been a great interview, just hearing about your past and how it turned around and, like, just what you have now compared to where you were at making that decision. And for people to understand that, like, just because you think you have a past doesn't mean that you're trash, man. Like, we're not here to judge your past. We're here to help you with your future. And a lot of times those people with a past are the ones that are more apt. This was a sermon in church a long time ago, where they were talking about the survivors in the Titanic, where the people who were never in the water were a lot less apt to save someone. But somebody who was in the water, got pulled from it, was desperately trying to save other people because they went through it. They knew how horrible that was. And I think it's kind of the same with this. You know, when I recruit somebody and I talk to somebody, the things that I've been able to change and do, like, I want people to have that. I wish everybody had it, you know. For you, doing what you did and seeing that just not work out, I guarantee every day you're like, especially when somebody's looking at you like you're crazy, you, like, listen to me. I'm telling you, I've been where you are, and you want to go this way, not that way, right? So, you know, what do you have to put out to anybody out there, whether it be people who are already in, people who are thinking about it, maybe just people seeing this? And look, man, we got people that watch that will never be in the military and have they can't. But I tell everybody, look, share it. Like, you don't know. Your nephew, your cousin, your friend from another state might see this, and anybody can write in. And look, if you're from Texas, I'll get you in touch with a Texas recruiter. You know, I don't care what branch it is. I don't care what state it is. You know, this is just the Midwest's #1 military podcast. It doesn't mean that I can put you in the Navy, but I will get you with somebody who cares. I promise you that. So we got another follower there, Petty Officer Donahue. Thank you so very much. I appreciate that. But yeah, go ahead, man. What would you like to put out there?
So my thing is this, right? If you are looking at joining the military branch, find a recruiter that you trust, right? Find one that's going to keep it real with you. When I talk to my applicants, right, my first question is, look, take the military off the table, right? Now, let's say you have all the time, all the money, and you have the ability to do anything you want to do. What is that, right? Because I want to find out what your goal is, what your dream is, and I want to help you get to there.
Yeah, not everybody cares about college.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and fill you up with all these things that I know aren't true, right? Because it doesn't make any sense. At the end of the day, I'm screwing you over, and I don't like that, right? So if you're looking to join the military, find a recruiter you trust.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing, right? Fact check them. I love
especially now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I pulled up my paycheck, my LES for that month, and I showed it to him. And I was like, look, I understand where you're coming from, right? All you see is this base pay. You don't know about the allowances. So
or the fact that we don't pay for medical insurance, and if you add that up, I mean, you're a family of what will be five. You know how much insurance will cost for you? And it's free for all 5 of y'all, man. Like, you be paying out the nose for insurance. You don't pay anything.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, I had knee surgery last January. They went in. I was out of work for a month and a half. I got paid every paycheck. I didn't pay for the hospital bill, nothing. So, 100%. The other thing is this, right? For those of you that are already in the service, right, or in really any branch, take a moment, take a step back, and understand. And this is going to sound funny, right, coming from a male in the military. But take a step back and look at your spouse, right, and really understand that, you may be going to work, right, and your spouse may be stay at home, but they're putting in just as much effort into this as you are, right? And so it really comes down to just that level of understanding.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of service members that are like, oh, like I go to work all day, she sits at home, and people have this thought that staying home spouses are just watching TV all day or, hanging out all day, doing all this fun stuff while we're out there working. And that's not the case. My poor wife runs herself ragged chasing after our kids. You know what I mean? So,
there are those ones, but I'm just saying, like, there are those ones that do take advantage of it. But you're right. Especially, I think sometimes we take it for granted. Maybe a normal housewife or something, but like military wise, you got to remember that if they followed you somewhere, you might have moved them somewhere where they know no one. They have no one. They haven't met other people yet or whatever. That can be really hard. Then for us, it's normal. It's what we're told to do. And that is big. So, hey, look, like, take a step back, look at your wife, look up those credo, treat her to something, make it, hey, babe, I'm gonna take you on a retreat. We're going to go. Yeah. How much you spend on this? Completely free. You're welcome. It's awesome. I can't wait I really need to look it up. I want to do it. Well, man,
even like you said you and your wife went to premarital counseling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So like, that's the other thing, dude. Service members don't understand marriage counseling is free.
Like, and it wasn't Navy. It was this civilian counselor, Military One Source. There's all kinds of stuff through Military One Source you can do.
And people think, you only go to marriage counseling when your marriage is failing. And I'm gonna be real with you. If you wait to that point, you've already kind of missed it. You know what I mean?
You're already screwed, man.
Yeah, like I was telling you, me and my wife, we plan on going to marriage counseling when I get back to the ship because it's an adjustment in life. You know what I mean? Like we need to take a step back and kind of refocus ourselves and talk about the new plan.
Yeah, because there's always, when we change like that, it's a gear drive. It changes, right? Like, we change from this person to that person seamlessly because it's what we do. It's, and for a spouse, it can be hard to see. So, for those that are in, like, take advantage of Military One Source. And anybody out there, you can look up Military One Source. You can just search it. It's militaryonesource.gov, I think. I don't know. I always just type in Military One Source.
Yeah. Same.
Anybody can look at the website. You can see all the things that are available. You just can't take advantage of it. But military members and their spouses can take advantage of that. So, like, if my spouse wanted to get just counseling for whatever, they can. It does not have to be marital. So check that stuff out, Go ahead. So,
and the last thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I firmly stand behind this. Everybody in the military needs to go talk to Fleet and Family. They need to go see what resources are offered because I do training tomorrow on Fleet and Family, and I was blown away. I went in there, and the lady that I was talking to walked me to every single person in charge of every single program. I sat and talked with them all for like 20 minutes each, like gave me a ton of resources. So Fleet Family is something that is just slept on.
Always, yeah, especially if you're looking at a move, PCS move, stuff like that. I mean, that's what they're there for. I mean, other things too. One of the first places I ever moved, we got there before our goods got there. Okay, went to Fleet and Family. They had what was called they call the linen closet, and they gave us cots, sheets, blankets, like a pot and a pan, some silverware, so that we didn't have to just like eat out all the time, and like we had some stuff. Because our delivery had just got delayed. I mean, there are so many resources. You just have to open your mouth and ask. It's an amazing resources. So, again, man, thank you so very much. Episode 83 with Petty Officer GSM1, Wiltshire-Wallace. Stick around for bonus content where he's going to be trying to win some money for charity on Texas Independence Day. So this is that point where we end the audio session. So I got to stop recording that real quick. And bonus content begins in 3, 2, 1. Bonus content. How you feeling, man? I did not cue you at this at all. I kind of forgot.
Yeah, dude, I'm a little nervous, honestly.
Good. You should be, because I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. So first and foremost, I asked you your favorite charity. You said the Wounded Warrior Project, right?
Yeah.
So I have that pulled up. I always like to talk about it. You know, we've had people play for charities that aren't necessarily military. It doesn't have to be, but this is yours, and that's fine. With the Wounded Warrior Project, you give a monthly gift or a one-time gift, and you can choose the amount. They have, just like other things, like there are things that you can buy, and money goes to Wounded Warriors. You know, your generosity or your generous tax deductible donation to the Wounded Warrior Project will change the lives of over 1 million injured warriors, caregivers, and family members. You will be helping. You will help bring independence back to our nation's most severely wounded veterans. Sorry, I stuttered with that. It's really small to read, but so that's what you're playing for today. You can pay with PayPal, check, credit card. I mean, you know, you can donate just $19 monthly. You can help somebody who gave some of them, maybe not all, but close to, for you to be able to be sitting here watching this podcast. So, you know, it's a great cause. It's one of the causes that I really like. So let's see. I'm going to come back to this for just a second. Oh, yeah. Well, duh. I got to pull up Zoom. Idiot. So, look, I have to prep real quick. Anybody who's watched my show, and I mean, you asked to be on it, so I would have assumed that you would have went back and watched a few episodes, but I guess you didn't. That's okay. So I'm going to pull up some. You won't be able to hear the music. They will, and they'll know what's going on. So let's see. Which one? That one. Play that. Oh, yeah, that's good right there, right in my ear. Turn it down just a little bit. All right, so I'm going to pull it up here for you. You're going to see exactly what you're going to be doing, all right? This is only available on the video. You'd have to come back and watch it. You can't listen to it. But let me find the right one here. Yep, that one, because I'm still there. Okay, cool. All right, you ready to see what you're doing?
Oh, yeah, I suppose so.
Texas Independence Day, bro. You're playing Who Wants to Be a Millionaire $100 edition, because I don't have $1 million. Texas edition.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so let me explain how it works, all right? There's going to be a series of questions. Every question is going to be a multiple choice answer. You have to pick that answer. You do have 3 lifelines, okay? You do have 3 lifelines. You have a 50-50. You have an Ask the Audience, and you have a Phone a Friend, okay?
All right.
There are, I think it's only 10 questions total. There's a bonus question at the end. The bonus question will allow you to earn an extra $10. There are stopping points. When you get to those stopping questions, if you answer them correctly, you are saved there. No matter what happens, your charity will get that amount. And no matter what, if you lose, if you miss a question, you will still get the chance to do the bonus question. But what you need to understand is that you can only miss one. Okay?
Oh, man. All right.
All right. Are you ready?
Yes.
Here we go. First question. What is the 2-letter state code for Texas? TE?
C.
Bro, you got to let me read it. Have you ever watched Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
No, dude, I'm way too high.
TE, TA, TX, or TS?
D, TX.
C, TX. Final answer?
Final answer.
It's for $1. You are correct. It is TX. That is the state code. It's easy. I'm going to tell you, they're not all going to be easy, and it is going to get harder. Here we go. What is the nickname for Texas? The Cowboy State, the Lone Star State, the Bend State, or the BBQ State?
B, final answer.
The Lone Star State. You sure?
Yep, locked in. 100%.
Locked in. All right, the music's getting ready to kick up. It's going to be real. This is for $2. You know that, right? $2. All right, Lone Star State. You are correct. It is the Lone Star State. We've all heard that, I'm sure, but somebody from Texas better know that. All right, ready to move on?
Yes.
Next one's $5 question. It's a save point. You get this question right no matter what. Charity will get $5. Here we go. Which state is next to Texas on its west? Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, or New Mexico?
New Mexico. I've drove from Texas to California. I know it's New Mexico.
D, final answer.
Final answer.
Here we go. Let's see. You are absolutely right. New Mexico. That's $5. That's your first save spot. These are pretty easy, right, for somebody from Texas?
I don't know, man. You're kind of scaring me. I feel like it's going to get a lot worse for me.
Oh, it will. What is the state animal of Texas? The longhorn, the Texas rat snake, the coyote, or the American quarter horse?
Dude, I'm going to go A, the longhorn.
Final answer for $10.
Finally.
You are absolutely right. Of course, it's the longhorn. Everybody knows that. You don't need to be from Texas for that one. Let's move on to the $20 question. What is the state flower of Texas? The Texas spider lily, the blue bonnet, the Mexican hat, or the Texas Indian paintbrush?
The blue bonnet.
Final answer?
Final answer.
For $20. The next question is a $50 question. It's a save point, so getting close. You know, music's queuing up. Is it the blue bonnet? I don't even know what a blue bonnet is. I thought it's something you wore on your head. Have you seen a blue bonnet before?
Yeah, we have them all over down here. They're wild.
Yeah, and it is the correct answer. All right, so let's move on to the $50 question. See if you can get that next save spot, okay?
All right.
Here we go. How many national parks does Texas have? National parks, not state. National parks. 1, 3, 2, or 4?
Okay, so I have a question. If I use my phone a friend, can I use the guy in my office?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'm going to use that. I'm going to use phone a friend.
But he has to come in and actually talk you through it, though. We have to hear it, or it's no fun.
Don't worry. I'll get him right now.
You better hope he knows it.
Oh, dude, me too, right? Chief Pond, I need you.
Somebody on Twitch that their name is Recruiter RR said these questions are too hard for an engineer.
How many national parks does Texas have? A, 1, B, 3, C, 2, D, 4.
I would say 3.
Are you sure?
That's what I would say. You have to choose your answer.
Oh man.
That's such a cheap answer. I love it.
I know, right? Oh. All right, we're going to say B3.
You're absolutely sure.
Yeah, lock it in.
You're playing for charity. It's a $50 save question.
Yeah, let's lock it in there.
I mean, you still have 2 lifelines.
Oh, man. You know, he's from Austin. You're what? Your family did the RV parks, right?
But did you make sure to tell them national parks? State parks don't count.
I know. I feel like there's more national parks than people realize. But
Texas is a big state.
But you have Frio, right?
I mean,
Isn't
I might be cueing you into something here to not say 3.
Then go down.
Okay, we're gonna say 2.
C, final answer for $50. You are correct. Thank you to your phone a friend, which was me. There is actually only 2 national parks in Texas, and I was going to print it out for which ones they are, and I forgot. But there are only 2 national parks in Texas. I told you it gets hard. Now you only have 2 lifelines, and I can't help you from here. I will save you to 50. You miss any from here, you're just going to have to miss it, all right? Because it's my money, and my wife brought it up the other day, and my mom, about how much money I'm spending. I said it's charity, okay? All right.
You're like,
it's charity, man. It's tax write-off. Next question. Austin is the current capital, but which of the following has not been a capital of the Republic of Texas? Harrisburg, Columbia, Fort Worth, or Houston?
Oh, man. Dang, dude, where'd you find these questions? Oh, my God.
It's Texas Independence Day.
Yeah, dude. Texas Independence Day is whooping my butt, though, man. Okay, Austin is the current capital, but which of the following have not been a capital of the Republic of Texas?
So in what that's saying is not just as a state, but since Texas has been Texas, because it was a Republic of Texas, right, before it was a state, which only one of these has not been a capital of Texas in some form. Only one.
Oh, man. What are my other lifelines?
You've got to ask the audience, and you've got a 50-50. Now, this is a $60 question. That you got this question, and the next one is a save point for 75. So, and then you got 2 more after that. But yeah, I mean, if you miss this, it'll get 50. But I mean, you do have lifelines. Make as much money for that charity.
Let's do the 50-50.
All right, so Austin is the current capital, but which of the following has not been a capital of the Republic of Texas? And with the 50-50 answers, you get Fort Worth or Houston.
Oh, man. Fort Worth or Houston? I'm going to say D, Houston.
Are you sure?
I
mean, you're from Texas, right?
I know.
When you get to the higher numbers, you have to talk it out because it makes it more fun. Harrisburg and Columbia are off the table. That means that they were at one time a capital. I didn't know that, but that's what the 50-50 gives me. Fort Worth. What's Fort Worth known for? I'm not. You're from Texas. I don't know.
Like DFW, so like up north, right? And I very distinctly remember at one point in time in Texas history that the capital of Texas was somewhere further up north. Houston is right on the East Coast, right next to Louisiana.
Yeah. Yeah. Which way did we come to Texas? You know what I'm saying? From the east? I don't know. I mean, it's because you're trying to pick which one has not been.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to say C, Fort Worth.
You're going to lock that in?
I'm going to lock that in.
You are absolutely correct. Fort Worth has never been a capital of the Republic of Texas. Houston has.
Oh, man, that's nuts.
It's a good thing you talked to me about it, right?
Yeah.
Next one's a $75 question, and it's a save point. Right now, if you miss this question, it goes down to 50. You ready?
Okay. Yep.
Texas joined the U.S. Union in 1845 today. But what position was it? The 28th, the 27th, the 26th, or the 25th state?
Oh, my God. Okay. We're going to have to use that last lifeline.
Bro,
man.
it's Texas Independence Day.
I know, dude. I should have like looked up a YouTube video or something before
Yeah, but
this.
like ain't nobody. You're telling me in Texas they're not out there riding longhorns, shooting guns, yelling, "Woo! Texas number whatever state of the union. Remember the Alamo."
No, man, not at all.
So the Ask the Audience gives me a poll, and it shows me percentiles. Your percentiles on these questions for A, 28th, it shows 61%. 27th shows 31%, and then the other two are split small.
Okay, I think I'm gonna have to go with A then.
The 28th state.
Yes.
You are absolutely correct for $75. It was the 27th state to join the Union on this day in 1845. Now, no more lifelines.
Oof. No more lifelines.
2 more questions to get to 100. Safe at 75. Still have a bonus question that could get you an extra 10. But let's see if you can get these last 2 and earn $100 for your charity. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Where did the term "don't mess with Texas" originate from? GNN controlled lobbyists' strong message to the government. G.W. Bush's Republic National Convention speech. Trash pickup campaign led by the Texas Department of Transportation. Or the debut album of Lil Kiki from Houston.
Oh, dude, that's easy. It's got to be Lil Kiki, right? You know what I mean? Like,
I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, neither do I. Don't worry. So I feel okay. So obviously I'm not gonna pick D. C, trash pickup campaign led by Texas Department of Transportation. In my head, right, what I'm thinking is that I feel like "Don't Mess with Texas" has been around for a lot longer than the Texas Department of Transportation.
You
I don't know why. I feel like it. I feel like it would be.
Well, I'm not trying to lead you here, but you got to think, if you look at all of these, I'm not completely 100% what the G #N control lobbyists is, but a strong message to government. So government was already in existence. And I know when G.W. Bush was in office, and I would think that there was I guarantee there was a Department of Transportation before G.W. Bush. And if you're saying that you know that term, "Don't mess with Texas," has been around for a long time, based on what you're saying, not what I'm saying, I would say it comes down to A and C, only because I don't know what A is. And, I mean, trash pickup, I don't know. I don't know.
You know, and dude, I feel like because Davy Crockett, right? Like, you can all go to hell, I'm going to Texas. That, I mean, shoot, that I would have to say
Well, that would be
A.
way before those, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I would have to say A. I feel comfortable with A.
A, do you know what this is, that G #N?
I have no idea.
Me neither. But it's just control lobbyists. Strong message to the government. Don't mess with Texas. That's what you were going to go with that, yeah?
Yeah.
Locked in. Final answer for $90.
Final answer.
I'm sorry, man.
Oh.
It was trash pickup. It was a trash pickup campaign. I didn't know this. This blew my mind. I looked it up in multiple places to verify it. And I would challenge a lot of people from Texas that probably wouldn't know this. Where did the term "Don't Mess with Texas" originate from? From a trash pickup campaign led by the Texas Department of Transportation. That is where that originated.
That is insane, dude. That is nuts.
How absolutely wild. I would have never in a million years.
No, dude, not at all.
Well,
Man,
I tell. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the last 2, and I tell you, I'll give you, so $75. You're going to get a chance. They're still getting 75. Okay, give you a chance to get 10 extra. But I do want to show you the last question.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, you're not going to like it. Just to see what you didn't get to. The Palo Duro Canyon has a long history as home to many native tribes such as the Apache, the Comanche, and the Kiowa. But how deep is it? 980 feet, 680 feet, 780 feet, or 880 feet?
Dude, I don't even know what that is.
The Palo Duro Canyon?
Yeah.
It's in Texas.
I've never even heard of it.
I'm pretty sure the answer is 100 or 880 feet. Palo Duro Canyon. But do you want your bonus question? You want a chance to win $10 for your charity?
Absolutely.
You're at 75. You get a chance to win 85. Let's see if you can get it. What is the #1 military podcast in the Midwest? Is it A, E-Talent, B, Behind the Helm, C, In the Box, and D, E14, A Sailor's Voice? Now, we can talk about this because you know what E-Talent is.
Yeah, no, but it's D. It's got it. No, I'm just joking. It's definitely going to be B, dude. E-Talent sucks.
I wouldn't say sucks. There's some good people that work there.
Oh, yeah, I just mean like, all right, yeah, let me rephrase that, right? E-Talent themselves don't suck. I just think it's fun. Someone puts in an online, application, and E-Talent gets credit.
Yeah. So, and they don't have a podcast. In the Box was a podcast that existed for a very short time, but you got to think outside the box. You know what I mean? E14, A Sailor's Voice, great podcast. If you've never listened to it, it's more candid. It's more, smoke pit topics. I was on there, I was on there. So it's good. But you want to go with B, Behind the Helm. I've heard good things.
Yeah.
And you are absolutely right.
E14 was a thing.
You didn't know what?
I didn't know E14 Sailor's Voice was a podcast.
Yeah, it's a real podcast. You should look it up. And actually, it's ran by a retired senior chief and a NCC now. She was a first class. That's why it was E14. She made chief, and she was down in NOLA for a long time, killing it down there, social media. NCC Jamie Britt, and then her husband Heath Britt. E14 podcast. They are not live. They do a record and then trim it up. But I've been on theirs, and it's really good. They have people from different places too, and they talk more like sailors, with more like issues that like we have, like comparatively where this is information. It's really good. Check it out sometime. But hey, let me pull you back up on camera here. And for those who stuck around for the bonus content, if you're from Texas, well, you know where he's at, and he just let you down. He let you down, Texas.
Don't come fight me. Stay out of my office.
don't mess with Texas, or at least they're trash. That's interesting. So, guys, everybody, thank you so much for being here. Petty Officer, stick around for just a minute. I'll talk to you after I end the stream. Let me pull myself back up here real quick, though. But to everybody else who stuck around, and for those who are watching this later, hey, thank you so very much. 900 followers. Can't believe it. Make sure you smash that like button. Share this feed even if it's after the fact, because this was a great show with a lot of great information. Go back and listen to it. But for now, until next time, see you guys later next week. Thank you very much.